got these really cool sawhorses for Christmas, and they open up and they're collapsible. They're pretty neat, and I didn't have anywhere to hang them in my garage. I just kind of sat there on the floor. So what I ended up doing was figuring out I need to make some brackets. So I designed something up in 123D Design, and that's what I came up with. I ended up using an old piece of plywood from a previous project that worked out perfectly. I measured out the pieces that would be used for the body of the bracket and used a square to make sure all the pieces would be perpendicular to each other. Then I moved outside to rip the pieces down. Since my workshop doubles as a laundry room, I'm pretty sure my wife wouldn't be happy with sawdust all over. From there I took the pieces and cut them down on the miter saw to size. I had 8 of the squares, and I had another 4 of the smaller rectangular pieces that would be used to mount these squares with the bracket onto the wall. Then I came inside and I glued the 2 pieces together, and they sat overnight so they could dry. The next day I went to the workshop and took the brackets off and scraped what little squeeze out remained. And then from there I started measuring the actual layout of the bracket itself. Now you'll notice when I'm doing this it actually was wrong. It doesn't look the same as the 3D CAD that I had. And I actually noticed before I started cutting and fixed that. So here you'll see those extra lines. So make sure you measure twice before you cut. So once I had the basic shape of the bracket cut out, I started drilling some pilot holes. Once the pilot holes were drilled, I was able to use the jigsaw to get in the center and cut out the rest of the bracket. I tried to get the corners as sharp as possible with the jigsaw, and it ended up being more trouble than it was worth. So for the next ones, I actually just used the round hole from the pilot holes and used those as the edges. So then I traced out the shape of the first one. You can see here it looks pretty good. Then I added 3 more pilot holes in each bracket, and then from there I cut out the center again with the jigsaw. Same thing as before, clamping it to the workbench. Once all the drilling and cutting was done, I sanded all the edges down. That took quite some time, but it looked good. Then from there I wanted to make sure that everything was lined up, so I took a bracket, I took a screw, and I screwed 2 screws in the back of the bracket that would actually be mounted to the wall. Now you notice here I glue it on, and I have a screw on the top and bottom. I had to relocate the top screw because I had to put a pocket hole in order for it to mount directly to the stud. So here I am drilling the holes on the bottom just to go straight to the wall so we wouldn't have any splitting. So here I am taking that screw out, re-drilling that hole and putting the screw back in so I can put the pocket hole. Didn't really have a good way to mount it to the wall, so I figured a pocket hole would be good, and it actually worked out better than expected. So drilling the pocket hole here, and after I did that on all 4 of them, I primed and painted them. After the paint and primer had dried overnight, the next day I went to the garage and I figured out where approximately I wanted to mount them and how far apart. So there I am using a stud finder. Then I drilled a hole, made sure that they were sitting flush and level. And initially I put them too close, the brackets too close together, so I put the bottom and drop them down about 2 inches. But dropped them in, made sure they were all at the same height, making sure they were level. Lastly, put the sawhorse on the bracket, made sure everything lined up, and it looks great. Thanks for watching.